Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you ever so much for joining today's training session. Like I was saying earlier, it's a big ask. I'm very well aware. People are tired after a long day of work, studies. I promise we will not go more than an hour. So this is our first training session. This one is going to be a bit technical. I know a couple of people have written to Tarini, have asked us if we can share resources, maybe even share some tips on how to talk to the parents, how to talk to the children. And this is especially if for those of you who do not have experience or do not have much experience in teaching children, but we will keep that for the next training session. I don't want it to be information overload in the first training because I do want all of you with us for the next 8 months. We don't want to terrify you. And so we're going to stage our training sessions. So this one's going to be technical in the sense that where you go to access the materials, the diagnostic test, which is the first thing that you're going to do, and how you're going to record the marks and, you know, those sort of things. Okay. So next slide, please. Right, so 4 things on today's agenda. One is we're going to talk a little bit about personalized targets. The second is diagnostic tests, and then Q&A, whatever questions that you have at this stage, and then some important dates for you. So these slides and the recording will be shared with all of you tomorrow by Tarini. On that note also, if you've not been receiving, maybe you're not the right people, I should be saying this because you are here, so obviously you received email. Right. But this is for people who are watching the recording, and if you missed out any of the emails, maybe it's ended up in your spam box. So please do add baca@uni.taylor.edu.my in your contact list. Okay. Right, so personalized targets, what it means is that based on the diagnostic test, we will determine the level the child is now. Yeah, so the materials, including the diagnostic test, are not prepared according to their age group. Okay, so the children who are participating in this project age between 6 to 9. So the materials that you will see in the folder, which I will show later, are not prepared according to, so if you're teaching a 6-year-old child, this is the material for 6-year-old, this is the material for 7-year-old. We prepare the materials according to levels. So we have level 1, level 2, level 3. The reason why we're doing this is because they are not reading at grade level. So they are, they may be 8-year-old, but they probably only reading at 6-year-old level, or they may be reading at grade level for Bahasa Melayu, but 2 levels down for English, right? So that's why we prepare the materials according to levels and not age group. Now, the goal here is to help children finish at a better level than they started, not to complete all the 3 levels, because that might be a bit unrealistic, especially if the child is starting at level 1, even sort of a beginning level 1, then 8 months, at the end of 8 months, the child is probably now reading fluently the text in level 1. And that in itself is a great achievement. Or the child has moved to level 2, maybe from level 1. That's even better, right? But the goal is not to rush through and get the child to read all the 3 levels. That might not happen with most of the children. Right? So it depends on where their starting point is, and then for them to show improvement within these 8 months. Right? So, and that is how we're different from the school, because in school, it doesn't matter where the child's starting point is. They all have to conform to the existing curriculum, right? So if they're joining year 3, for example, this year, they're all using year 3 materials. Never mind, they are reading only probably at year 1 level, isn't it? So that's so here we're not looking at their age group, but we're looking at the level, and we're trying to get the children to do well in that one level if they are absolutely beginning of level 1. So by the end of 8 months, they are fluent in level 1, or deciding at sort of mid level 1, and by the end of 8 months, they can get to level 2. Now, who decides at what level, and how fast they should move? It's you, the reading coach. So because you'll be working with the child, you will have your diagnostic test results as a sort of, to help you with the benchmark. You will also have the midterm assessment and the end term assessment as well to sort of help you guide into, the different levels. Okay. Now, moving on to diagnostic test. The first thing that's going to happen is the diagnostic test. And this is important because we need the test results to, so that we know where the children are, right? The sort of their starting point, and then 8 months from there, where they are, right? So how are we going to do with this diagnostic test is, on the 14th of March, which is on Monday, you will receive, all of you will receive a Google Sheet with the child's name. We are now matching the students to all the volunteers. So you will get the child's name and the parents' contact details and some remarks. So Tarini has spoken to all the parents. She's phoned the parents. She's spoken to all 100 parents. So some of some of the columns, for some children, there will be certain remarks that, the parents have already told her, so this is sort of like, some information about the child or the family for you to get started. Only those that Tarini has informed, and of course, has been told, of course, in the next couple of weeks, you may collect other information about the child that you want to share with us, or if we have extra information that we've got from the parents, we will obviously share with the volunteer as well. Okay, and when these remarks would be mainly like, for example, I think there is a child who has sort of ADHD, right, Tarini? Yeah, so a child has ADHD. So we will put in that remark there so you know how to manage. And of course, we will support you along the way. Are there any other remarks, Tarini? Do you want to give examples?
Yes. So for example, some parents, some child have to wait for their dad because the dad is the only one that uses data at home. So I put there like, you can only conduct the classes in the evening. Or some have to go to the auntie's house to sit through the classes. And then some may have siblings in Project Baca Baca. So just to give you a heads up, like, hey, there might be another class that's going on simultaneously next to you. So some heads up like this.
Yeah. And also, I think I mentioned this, or might have mentioned this during the meet and greet, that you will also get a mentor volunteer. We've got a couple of mentor volunteers here. We have Sohana. Hi, Sohana.
Hi.
Sohana is our mentor volunteer. We have Imisha.
Yeah.
Hi.
We have Gitanjali. Hi. Anyone else, Tarini? Did I miss anyone else?
Yeah, we have Christina here.
Christina. Hi, Christina.
Hi.
Okay, so we've got a couple of volunteers here. They were our volunteers last year, so they're a little bit more experienced in Project Baca Baca. And they have you know, I
They
don't
have
know.
worked with parents from the
They
B40
work with
community
parents.
before.
They work with parents from you know, lower socioeconomic background. So they have so they've agreed to be our mentor volunteers, so that we will then assign each mentor volunteer will have around 19 to 20 volunteers with them. So whatever questions that you have, you can, you know, check with your mentor volunteer. They'll be able to share experiences from last year, how they deal with parents, how they deal with the, you know, with the child that they were working with, right? So we will also indicate in that Excel sheet, which we're sending out on 14th March, the mentor volunteer. What the mentor volunteer will do is that mentor volunteer will get in touch with all of you, you know, so, and maybe, you know, create a WhatsApp group, so that we don't want to create a WhatsApp group with like 100 people. That's just one too many.
Yeah.
So we'll just create a small WhatsApp groups according to the you know, the mentor. The mentor volunteers will create a WhatsApp group and they will invite you guys in. So whatever questions that you have, of course, you can always ask me and Tarini as well. But you know, if there's a quick question that you want to ask, you can always put it in that WhatsApp group. It's also to act like a community of practice, right? So, you know, you put in you know, you've done your first session and you feel a bit overwhelmed, you feel overjoyed. So you just put it in the WhatsApp group and there's somebody else who shares similar emotions, so they can share. Actually, that's what happened last year when these guys, Sohana and everybody, conducted their first diagnostic test. I got so much of feedback from them, and it was lovely reading them. So, you know, it's something that to share, not just to ask questions, but also to share your experiences with fellow volunteers. So that's going to happen on 14th March. Now, after that, between 15th March to 20th March, please do call the parents. Like I said, Tarini has spoken to all the parents, so they are aware of this project. They are expecting your phone call, so do call them and fix a schedule for reading sessions as well as the diagnostic test. Now, we don't fix the timing for you guys because everybody's schedule is different. We're working with 100 volunteers, 100 children, 100 parents, right? So you negotiate with the parent the most suitable time for both of you. Okay, so like what Tarini said, sometimes the child has, you know, can only use the father's phone. So, you know, it can only be done late in the evenings or over the weekends, right? So that's one example. So you may have like work until late evening. So you don't want to deal with classes, you know, at night. You want to do it over the weekend. So that's something that you can talk to the parent and, you know, agree on a common time that works. And ideally, when this timing has been decided, we want you to sort of keep to this timing and not change it every week, right? Because children need stability. God knows, you know, a lot, you know, the past 2.5 years has not really provided any, you know, much stability in their life. So if there's one thing that they can look forward to, we want that to be Project Baca Baca. Of course, within these 8 months, there will be time where you have to attend an event, you know, you have to go somewhere, and that is the time that you negotiate and, you know, reschedule your classes. That's absolutely fine. But we try as much as we can to stick to the same schedule every week, so they know, oh, Saturday 4 p.m. is Baca Baca time. You know, my teacher is gonna call me up, so they're waiting for that. That's a nice feeling, isn't it? So that's going to happen between 15th March to 20th March. You're going to call the parents and fix a schedule, and then inform them that the reading classes will begin starting 4th April. Now, the reason why we're starting only from 4th April is because you are going to conduct the diagnostic test between 21st March and 28th March. Okay, and then once you key in the marks and put in your feedback, we will need time to see how many children are in level 1 category, how many children are in level 2, level 3, so that then those children who need printed materials, we can then post them, post these materials accordingly. So that's why we need a bit of time before you start the classes on 4th of April. Maybe we should take a pause here. Any questions? I know we've got Q&A for later, but maybe, Tarini, do you think maybe we can pause and take questions here?
Yeah, of course, I think.
Anyone has any questions so far? You can put it in the chat box, you can unmute. Okie dokie. So no questions so far. Great. That's excellent. Okay. Next. Yes, diagnostic test material. So where can you go and access the test material? So if you want to take a look at the test material before, you want to do a bit of prep. Like I said, you don't need a lot of prep work for these materials. They're all self-explanatory. They're all pretty straightforward. So Tari, do you want to put the link in the chat box for people to go in?
Hold on, yeah. So I'm sharing the link here.
Yeah, so that's the link. Don't worry, we'll share the link again tomorrow in the email. But if you're super excited, you want to go in and take a look now, you can go in now and do that. So it's all in Google Drive. So if you get here, there's a diagnostic test. So click on that folder. And then you will see there are 3 folders, level 1, level 2, level 3. So like I said in the beginning, we organize our materials according to the level and not age group, right? So we've got the, maybe the test guidelines first, yes? Should appear now, maybe. All right.
Is it still small?
Yes, I think, yeah, it's still, yeah, okay, great, yeah, that's great. Okay, so these are the guidelines. Do let us know if there are any, oops, kind of.
Okay.
Okay, so guidelines on conducting the diagnostic test. So the marking rubrics. So the total marks for a diagnostic test for each level is 10 marks. Okay, so and there are 2 sections in a diagnostic test. The first section is the reading. So how well can they read the text? And we give them 2 marks here. So if they don't make any mistakes when they are reading in terms of their pronunciation, enunciation, right? We award them 2 marks. If they make 1 to 5 mistakes, we award them 1 mark. If they make more than 5 mistakes, they don't get any marks. Okay. Now, so that is the first part, right? So we basically just get them to read. And then we observe. Our role here in the diagnostic test is more of an observer. So we just observe them and we just, because we need to know where they are at, right? So we're just observing them, writing down, what they're, how well they are reading. And then the second part is the comprehension questions that will follow the passage. Now, if they're able to answer independently and correctly, each question, you give them 2 marks. There are 4 questions in total for every text. Okay, so in total, they should get 8 marks for this comprehension question if they answer all correctly, plus 2 marks if they, if they did not make any mistakes. That will award them 10 marks for level 1. Now, whatever the child's age is, you start with level 1 material.
Right.
Okay, so everybody starts with level 1 material. Now, if in the level 1 material, the child gets like, the child is able to read, maybe makes 2 mistakes in the reading, and then you go to comprehension question, the child, requires some support to answer some of the questions. In total, the child gets like maybe 6 marks out of 10 marks. Okay, then you move to level 2. And then you try out level 2 and see what, how well the child is reading, right? And then if in level 2, the child makes more than 5 mistakes in reading, you don't go to level 3 anymore. You just finish up the comprehension questions, and you ask some questions listed in. We've got some guiding questions that we will show you in a bit. And then you may even want to like come back to level 1 and discuss some of the mistakes the child did. Maybe you want to read together with the child, right? But the child is not going to move up to level 3. Now, if the child still reads, if the child still makes fewer than 5 mistakes in level 2, child gets 5 out of 10 or something, right? Then you move to level 3. Okay, so it depends on how well your child is reading that you then move to from one level to another.
Right.
I'm just pausing here to let everybody digest that part, because that's the technical part. Any questions here? Does anyone have any questions here, like, or if it's not clear?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, good. Okay, right. Do you want to show the, yes, both languages. That's true. Yes. So you will do the same for English and Bahasa Melayu. Okay. For diagnostic tests alone, if you want to schedule it on just one day, 1 hour, and finish off both Bahasa Melayu and English, that is fine. But for the reading sessions, we would like it to happen at separate sessions. And I think I spoke about this because 1 hour is too long. They're going to get distracted, and they're going to run out of data. They're going to, a lot of things going to happen. So, after that 30 minutes, 40 minutes maximum, they're going to look around. They see their sibling eating. They see their sibling playing. They're going to get distracted. So that's why I'm going to keep it to 30 minutes per session. Diagnostic test alone, it's okay. You can just do it, in that 1 hour, both BM and English. That is fine. We've also have got some common reading mistakes that you can, take a look later on. Okay. Do you want to show the, the question map, please? Oops.
I'll show one English one.
No, the question mat.
Oh, the question mat. Okay, sorry.
Okay, so remember I said when a child, so if the child is making, more than 5 mistakes in that particular level, you're not going to go into the next level anymore, right? So you're just going to finish up the comprehension questions. With the remaining time, maybe you want to explore a little bit more of that reading passage. You can ask this sort of, there's some sample questions here. If you're an experienced teacher, you will know what to do. But if you've not taught before, then these sort of, sort of like your standard questions that we have here that you can use for any reading passages that you can get them to talk a little bit more, also to build a bit of rapport. So the diagnostic test is also quite important in the sense that you don't want to terrify the poor child, that the child says, I don't want to participate in this project anymore. So while we want to know where the child is, the level of the child, we want also the atmosphere to be quite friendly, so the child's all right, this is quite fun thing to do, right? So just explore a little bit more, ask them some questions. You can even start by asking them about themselves, tell a bit about yourself. So 5 minutes into that, 5-10 minutes into that, just to establish a sort of a rapport with the child. Okay.
Should I go to level 1?
Yes, please. So we'll show you a sample reading diagnostic test on already. We'll start with English first.
Yeah, so when you go in, there'll be 2 copies here. One is the student copy, the other one is teacher's copy. So when you're sending the work to the child, it has to be student copy because yours will have the answer.
Yeah. Oh, so this is the other thing. So you are sending the material to the child, okay? We will only send the printed material to those who need it. Okay, so but everybody gets an online soft copy. So so you send it to the parents' WhatsApp, send it ahead of the diagnostic test, or maybe with the test, maybe you want to send it just before the test or something, because you don't want the child to like prepare and gotten all the answers ready for you, right? But for subsequent classes, for the materials, you can send it earlier also. That's not a problem. Just send it to the child, irrespective whether the child is getting a printed material or not. Sometimes with last year as well, I think sometimes they forgotten where they kept the printed material, or they are at their grandparents' house, so the printed material is at home, they didn't bring it along. So just send every week when you do the classes, just send the soft copy material to the parent. So here, if you can see here, so you've got the text on the left, I can, and this is level 1. And so this is where we said that if the child makes, no mistakes, they get 2 marks. If they make 1 to 5 mistakes, they get 1 mark. And if they make more than 5 mistakes, no marks, 0 mark. Yeah. And then you go and do the questions with them. Question 1 to question 4. Each question again is 2 marks. Okay. Should we do a demo, Tarani? So that Tarani is going to be the child here. Okay. So hi Tarani, do you want to? I'm just going very fast here. So Tarani, do you want to start reading? Whatever that you can, really, no pressure.
I can. I can pet a cat. I can sit in a pit. I can tap on a lock. I can hop to the top. I can run in the sun. It is fun, but I am hot.
Okay, so Tarani made 2 mistakes, I think, right? So she gets 1 mark for the reading text. And now we go and do the questions. Now, Tarani, what does the child pet? The child can't actually take if it's just online, so it's all going to be verbal, right? What does the child pet? Is it a dog, a cat, or a hat?
A cat.
Okay. Which word rhymes with lamb? So at this stage, maybe the child doesn't know what rhymes mean, right? So you can simplify the question. Which word sounds like lab, for example?
Ham.
Okay. Why do you think the child is hot?
I don't know.
Okay, never mind. Let's go on to, let's try number 4. What do you think the child will do next?
Go to the park.
Okay. Now, so how many mistakes did Tarini? So Tarini answered number 1 correctly. Number 2 was wrong, incorrect. Number 3, she didn't answer. She didn't know the answer. And number 4, what did you say, Tarini, for number 4?
I said I'd go to the park.
Go to the park. Okay, so number 4 was incorrect again. So Tarini gets 2 marks. Right? So she answered number 1 correctly, 2 was wrong, 3 no attempt, and 4 was incorrect. So 2 marks plus 1 mark from the reading text. That means Tarini gets 3 marks out of 10 marks for level 1. Okay. Now, then you move on to level 2. Okay, you can come back and discuss the answers again afterwards. So just get to the levels first, because the reason why we need to do this is because we don't want the child's data or phone stop, you know, halfway through while you're explaining and you can't complete your diagnostic test, right? So go through and finish up, you know, as much as you can with the levels, right? And then come back and reread the text, help the child with the pronunciation, help the child with the questions and the right answers. And then, so the same thing, so Tarini reads here. So assuming here, Tarini is going to make more than 5 mistakes. Okay, because these are longer sentences, more difficult words. So she's going to make 6 mistakes here in the reading, the big turning. Okay, so we will still try and answer the questions, even though she made more than 5 mistakes, but then we will not do level 3 text with her anymore. So with the remaining time, we can go back to level 1, we can reread together, check for meaning. Do they know what tab means? Do they know what lab means? Do they have a cat at home? You know, so these are sort of things that you can talk about, and then go through the questions with them again. This time, help them in getting the right answer, check for meaning, understanding. Similarly for level 2. And then what you do next is you go to the progress report.
I will go to the attendance and progress document.
Okay, so now you've got the marks, right? So you've got level 1. The child got, Tarini got 3 out of 10. So you're going to go and key in these marks, right? So we will give you this, spreadsheet. We'll send this out to you on Monday as well, together with the information, the child's information and all that.
Yeah. So when you already know your child's name, right? Because you will get the student detail from us, and then there will be like your name, and next to it is the child's name. So once we share this with you, you just have to go through it and look for your child's name. It will not be your name, yeah, it will be the child that you're teaching. So assuming mine is name 1, right? So I'm here.
Yeah, so we will put the names of the children.
Yeah.
We will also fill in the student detail part for you. So where the name, the age, the beneficiary is just for us to know the location of the child. So whether it's the PPR Seri Alam, we've got 5 locations where the children come from. It's for us to track, because if you say Tarini, I don't know which location Tarini is from. Is for us to track, and your name will be there. Now, so you go in now, because we did the diagnostic test, right? So put in 1. This is the attendance, right? So we put in 1 for English. And then assuming you also did the Malay lesson, so you put 1, okay? And then you scroll down. There's no need to put remarks. Only if the child was absent, you need to put in any remark to let us know why that didn't happen or whatever. Then you put. If the child attended, then you don't need to put any remarks there. And then just scroll down to where the progress log is. So now we're looking at diagnostic tests. So level 1, no, for English. So we're going to English, level 1. So Tharani got 3. Okay. 3 out of 10. And then level 2, Tharani got 2 out of 10 maybe. Okay. And then level 3, we didn't attempt level 3 because Tharani made more than 5 mistakes in her reading, right? So here we put NA, is it?
Not applicable.
Not applicable. Don't put 0 because 0 means the child attempted and got 0 marks. So that will confuse us later on when we're looking, right? So put NA, that means, didn't attempt. If attempted, level 3, got 0, then you put 0. Okay, if didn't attempt, you put NA. Okay, and you do the same for BM as well, level 1, 2, and 3. And then just very briefly, if you can, put in some feedback. This will help us in, child's reading was okay, but comprehension, understanding was poor. Child's able to read and answer level 1, but struggled with level 2. Child was distracted throughout the session. The child didn't respond to me despite lots of probing from me. So whatever remark that you have, if you can please put that in, that will also help us. If you had any issues as well, if you can put that in, it will also help us when we take a look at all the children. If we need to go and run interference with the parents, talk to the parent, we can do that for you. So your feedback here will be really, really helpful for us. Okay, you don't have to write a whole lot of things. Just a couple of lines for BM and English. That will be great. Okay. And did I?
So you will be updating the same progress log for your other tests as well. So this is like a work in progress. And also, if you feel like attendance, interest, and communication, you want to write anything, also that's great, because at the end of the day, it will be very helpful for us.
That overall feedback, we'll keep it to the at least until the midterm or after. You don't have to put that overall feedback now. But this is also the document that you go in to update the attendance for every week. So this is and we need this because if the attendance is poor, then we need to know why it's poor. If you're scheduling classes but they keep canceling classes or they're not turning up for the class, then we need to know. And like I said, then we need to maybe run interference with the parents to find out. Or in worst case scenario, if they're not cooperating, then we may have to change, bring in another child. There are a lot of children who need our support, and so we want the parents. You guys are super committed. Thank you very much for that, and we want the parents to be committed as well. So if they're not responding, if they keep canceling class, they're not taking this seriously, then maybe we need to think about giving that opportunity to another child. There's a question. How long are the tests supposed to be done? Within that 30 minutes, so within that 30 minutes, ideally you should be able to do, if the child can read very well, then the child should be able to answer all the 3 texts within 30 minutes. If the child is struggling, then which means that you don't have to go on to the next level anyway. And then within that 30 minutes, if the child is already struggling with level 1, then you just help the child with level 1, maybe read together again, try out the questions, explain. Maybe the child, maybe you need to translate into Malay, and sometimes the child knows in Malay but don't know the equivalent in English. So, or you want to show to draw it out together or something to explain the meaning. Any questions? Just keep checking the time. We've got 15 more minutes. I don't want to take longer.
Can I just highlight one thing, Ms. Hema? Right. So if you understand it correctly, you would see that we are mainly focusing on them reading the text, not really on answering questions. Of course, we want them to answer questions and start, but the only way you move up is if you read the text and you make less than 5 mistakes. So that's why if the child makes lesser mistakes, they go one level up. So if you feel like you're running out of time, but the child is reading well and you need to move out, then focus on the text, right, Ms. Hema?
Yes, maybe check for quick understanding, because one is, of course, we want to know how well the child can read, but also whether the child understands what they are reading, right? So it's not just decoding, but also understanding the meaning. So maybe do a quick check, and then move on to the next level.
Just a quick one.
Yeah.
I mean, I know this whole thing today was about diagnostics, but if ever say that in level 1, and I don't know how much of materials you have you encountered a situation where your materials are over, but you don't think the child can move on to level 2?
We will have, so if you notice, we have 32 weeks in 8 months, right? So we will have 32 reading materials for each level.
Okay.
But you may not need to go through all the 32 materials in level 1. Say, for example, your child, it's quite easy by week 10 or week 12, your child is already reading quite fluently in level 1. Then you can move on to level 2. Level 2 again will have all the 32, materials for 32 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Very, very well done.
Maybe I can share something, Ms. Hema. This was asked during, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, this was asked by one of my volunteers when I had a small chat with them. They asked me, like, I'm reading with the child. The week 1, he wasn't reading very well, and we were stuck in level 1. We were just trying to get him fluent to read level 1. But then suddenly week 3 or 4, which is like a lot, because the midterm is only after 2 months, right? A lot faster than that, he kind of picked up, and he's suddenly very fluent with level 1. And I'm done with everything in 15 minutes. I'm just like buying time, asking him so many other questions. Then she asked me, can I redo the diagnostic test with the child and see how is he scoring now? Yeah, please go ahead, redo the diagnostic test, update us, and then you can move on to level 2.
Yeah. You don't have to wait until, that's a good point. You don't have to wait until midterm to move up another level. So it's really based on your judgment. If you think that it's too easy for the child reading fluently, I mean, you may want to test out a few texts, right? Not just one text, but a few texts, and you think the child is reading very smoothly, all good, then try out a level 2 text and say, okay, so this is where I think the child should be reading now.
Yeah, because his volunteer told me that she doesn't want to really make the judgment because she's not your teacher. It's the first time teaching, so she said, "Can I rely back on the diagnostic test because that has been set by you?" I said, "Yes, please go ahead and do that." So I just thought I would share with all of you.
Great, thanks. What is next on the slide? I think it's the dates. Okay, so this is the important dates. Important dates. Sorry, there's a spelling error there.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that.
Important dates. So 14 March, you will receive the links to 2 Google Sheets. One is the student detail, their phone number, the parents' phone number, and also your mentor volunteer's name, and they will then form a WhatsApp group and invite you guys to join. Then the second link will be to the attendance and progress log that we just showed you. So between 15th March to 20th March, so scheduled diagnostic tests, call up the parents, introduce yourself, and schedule the diagnostic test and the reading sessions. And then 21st March to 28th March, conduct the diagnostic test, key in the marks. We have one more training session on the 31st of March because in that training session, we will answer some of the questions that you guys have asked, like, talking to the parents, how to conduct reading sessions. Maybe we'll have a couple of role plays as well. Some of the issues that you will be dealing with that we got feedback from volunteers from last year, right? And also taking a look at the reading materials as well in that training session. We didn't want to do it today because there's going to be information overload for everybody. So let's just, focus on getting the diagnostic test done first. And then 4th April onwards is the first reading session. Anyone has any questions? Also, look out for an email from Project Baca Baca. Oh, this is quite important, yes. So this part, so we will, next week, we will send out an appointment letter to all of you, formally welcoming you to the project. And because we're dealing with children, we need you to sign a couple of consent forms. Okay, can we show them what these consent forms are, Tarani?
Sure. Hold on.
There are 3 forms that you need to read and sign and then send back to us.
Now. All right.
Okay, so this is the first form. So this is consent form for participation and ethical use of materials. So here, if you are above 18, so you're going to sign this form. If you're below 18, you get your guardian or parent to sign this form. So the 2 parts to this, one is consent for participation, that you consent to participate in a voluntary basis, right? And the second part is the ethical use of the reading materials, kindly provided by Twinkle. And so this is you agreeing to use the materials that you have access to only for this project. And at the end of this project, you will delete the materials that you have stored in your personal devices, and you will not use it for any other purposes other than Project Baca Baca. So that is the consent form number 1. Number 2 is the talent release form. So talent release form here is basically to allow us, Taylor's University, Project Baca Baca, to use photos, images, video footage captured, during your sessions for publicity, marketing purposes. We want to raise visibility of this project on social media. We want to raise the visibility, we want to raise awareness of learning poverty in Malaysia. So for that, we will need your help and support, we will be featuring you, we will be showing some, posting some photos of you in action later on, but we will need your permission for that. And the third one is release of liability and indemnity contract. So here it is mainly for, that you are volunteering this on your free will, and if your laptop explodes during the session, you will not be suing us. or project me or project baca. So to put it in a very simple language, that's basically it. You can read through it and then put in your name and signature. I hope nobody's laptop explodes, but there you go. That was just the example. So these three forms, what you've got to do is download them. They are in Google Doc form here. Download them, put in your name and signature. It can be digital signature, that is fine.
Yeah.
Email it back to Project Baca. And join the WhatsApp group that the mentor volunteers will create, and then please join that and then get the conversation going and share your experiences. Well, I've said all that we need to say. It's to 9:26. We have 4 minutes. Any questions? Yes. What do we do if the child does not respond throughout the diagnostic session? Okay, so if the child is not responding at all, could be a number of reasons for that. It might be the child is nervous. The child may not have spoken to anybody who is from a different ethnic community. A number of reasons. So maybe we want to start with just talking about yourself first. That's one way. Say who you are, what you do. Maybe ask about likes, dislikes, where do you live, some sort of warm-up questions, and then get into the diagnostic test. But if you find that you've ran out of ideas, you've tried everything and the child still refuses to speak, maybe you want to ask the child to pass the phone to the mother or the father and say, is everything all right? Is this particularly bad day? Maybe the child got scolded before and now refusing to participate, or the child is like super shy, or if there is any learning disability that we're not aware of. The parent may not have told Tharani about this, so we've not put it in the remark because we don't know. So maybe you want to find out if there is anything that we need to know. So Hannah, do you want to share, if you remember your first experience, diagnostic test? Was the kid all excited?
No, my kid did not talk at all, because when I had asked the parent itself, she had told me that, it's super, like he can't speak much in BM, neither English. So that was like my experience itself, that, he did not know, and he was really, really shy that, what if he says the wrong thing, or what if he can't say a word? So, that thing of like embarrassment, right? Because your other friends, probably he would have had friends that would have been more experienced in talking, or because they, like, the child that I got was 9. But I would honestly say that you will expect the unexpected when you go for your diagnostic test, because there are a lot more, these kids need time to warm up to you, and how you speak, and what you speak. So I would say, if your child does not respond to you, don't get disheartened. It's not because you are doing something wrong, but it's because that they're getting used to someone actually giving them attention to teach, to speak, to listen to them, to actively listen to them. Because when they are in schools, right, they don't get that sort of attention. But now that they're getting that one-to-one attention, so they are a bit like, oh my God, like, all eyes on me only. In that sense, I would say that I stopped the diagnostic test halfway, and I gave him a break, and I started talking to him about school. So I brought up topic about how was school, or what is your favorite game. And sorry, so I also before I take a leave, because I have to go for my meeting, but I just want to share this, that when I did my first few weeks, I actually played a game with him at the end of the session. So that gave him motivation to go through that 1 hour with me. That 30 minutes with me. Because I told him, okay, so at the end of the session, we're going to play this today, or at the end of the session. So he really loved to play PUBG or to watch PUBG videos. So I actually used to share screen and make him watch PUBG videos with me, and I'll tell him, okay, so explain to me what is this, because I don't know anything about it. And he was so passionate in explaining it to me, because it was something that he really loved. And I think that gave him confidence in talking the next time about reading. And also I started understanding and knowing that that was his way of making a conversation. So at the end of maybe a session, you could some days tell, okay, if you do this in maybe 20 minutes, the last 10 minutes we'll sit down and watch something. So try to get to know what they really love and what they are interested in, or their hobbies, or engage in that conversation where they will be able to open up to you. So in the next coming 8 months, you'll realize that you have made such a difference, not in how they read, but more of them engaging in that conversation with you. And that's how they learn how to speak and what you are teaching them. So don't get disheartened if they don't do the diagnostic test really well. My child got maybe 1 out of 10 for all, whether it was him listening, whether it was him speaking. And then when he came to the final diagnostic test, he was such a champ. So yeah, just go with the child, and just as long as he's comfortable with you, you don't even have to worry. Don't even tell them it's a test. Be like, we're going to read something. You don't know, that's okay. In the coming weeks, you're going to know. And then finally you'll be like, what a champ. I got a chance to read one line. So I think that also, Miss Hema, I was just going to say, I actually texted Tarini earlier, but just to remind her that sometimes the emails go into spam. So we actually don't, I think some of them who did not come today as well, probably their emails went into spam or something, because I found mine in spam. So if sometimes if you know someone who's also one of the mentor volunteers, just do drop them a text and tell them that check your spam as well, just to make sure. Yeah, so that, I'm so sorry, Miss, I got to go for my work meeting.
No worries. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Sohana.
much.
Thanks. Yes, that's such a very important point that Sohana brought up, which is the term diagnostic test is just for us, guys. We don't have to tell the kid we got to do a diagnostic test. So the kid probably don't know what diagnostic means anyway. We don't need to tell the kid we're going to do a test, So we're just going to read together and see what happens, right? So we don't need to use the word test. And yes, emails ending up in spam box. I think when we send out an email to everybody, we did say that add Baca Baca's email in your contact. But what we will do is also we will get the mentor volunteers to add them, to add all of you in your respective WhatsApp group. So, so whatever training, whatever emails that we send, they will also post it in the WhatsApp group. So that way, you definitely don't miss out, any important information. There is a question on what happens after 8 months. hopefully at the end of that 8 months, the child has gained some confidence in reading, found some joy and love in reading, and most importantly, the parents, because the parents are required to sit with the child when you're having the session. We've informed all the parents regarding this. So one is, of course, for the safety. We don't want the child to be looking, if the child has got a laptop, we don't want the child to be looking at other things online while trying to read, right? So and two is also to pick up some strategies from the reading coaches, and so that at the end of the 8 months when you leave, the parent will be able to take over and read together with the child. So so that's what's going to happen after 8 months. Okay, it is 5 minutes past 9:30, so I am going to let everybody go. Unless if you have questions, please stay on and ask, or if you want to have a chat, I'm always open to chat. So if not, I will see you guys again on 31st March for another 1 hour training session. Thank you ever so much for joining the session today. See you all soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.